Okay, I've got something.
What do you got?
I did an Instagram poll, and I asked what type Pokemon they thought I was. What do you think was the top response?
I have to remember Pokemon types. All right.
Oh, you idiot.
Now, are there new types in the new gens?
Not recently, but there have been in the past couple of gens.
Okay.
Not this current gen. There's no new ones that I know of.
I'm going to say that I would think of you as a psychic type.
Yeah, that was a very popular answer. Okay. Psychic and fairy.
Fairy's good. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm like, yeah, those are all fucking pink. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. A surprising amount said rock or fighting, and I'm like, I'm very wimpy.
Yeah, I don't think I would put you in fighting. Like, you might have, sometimes you might bring the aesthetic of it, like, to, I don't know, be, like cool or whatever.
Oh, like athleisure?
Not yeah, you're always in
I'm always in athleisure.
So
I'm always walking around in sweatpants.
Fucking Christopher Moltisanti over here.
Christopher.
But no, like cool, kind of like retro, like, you know. I could picture that. Anyway, I realized that we're actually going to have to save this now, because that's cool. That's a good intro.
Oh, fuck.
To talk about like what Pokemon type I would be. Like, that's good. So,
okay.
That's our intro.
That's our intro. Okay, so what type would you be? There's not a nerd type.
Oh yeah, you have to guess what type I would be. I have to figure out what I would be.
I'm thinking, what are the nerdiest Pokemon? Listeners, I drew all of us, like our friend group, as chickens the other day, and I drew Grady with a book. And I meant it as a nerd thing, but he did look like a little Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah. Or have my little Gideon Bible or something. We're crossing a lot of streams of...
Oh.
Someone's going to be like, those are different branches entirely.
It's offensive.
Which is fair. But...
Eris complained.
Get your representation right. Okay, we may need to expel a cat here.
Okay, hold on. Cat expulsion.
Hey, girl. Oh,
commune.
Yeah, let's let you out into the darkness.
It's gonna get cold, dummy.
So good.
The commune is voted. Eris has been kicked out of the commune.
This would happen like in the first week.
She'd eat all the food. What type would you be? I think psychic, maybe. Okay. Because you're very persuasive.
Ooh.
And kind of a nerd, and I feel like psychics can be kind of nerds.
It fits into that, yeah.
I've gotten a real fondness for normal types lately. Like, they're kind of beasts a lot of the times.
What is the deal with normal types? I saw this video that was like, what the fuck? Why normal type? It's a Pokemon. Why is it normal? Like,
I guess it's just like, this is just an animal. Like the one I have the big pig. I'm playing Scarlet Violet, y'all. I have mixed feelings. Anyway, I've got the big pig on my team. He's great. I mean, he's only weak to fighting. Everything else he's neutral. And he can take a hit. It's a good type to have. But I guess, yeah, it is weird. It's just like, well, this is just a pig.
Yeah, how could you say that about like a real ass Pokemon, but it's just normal?
It's pretty normal.
I did have one other thing that I thought was cool that I read this week.
Okay. 2 openers, listeners.
Yeah, you guys are getting a bonus here. It's the holiday season. We're feeling giving. So there was this article in the New York Times.
Oh, my fave.
Which, surprisingly to me, was not diseased completely.
Oh, okay.
Was not ridden through wholeheartedly with capitalist ideology.
Yeah, that's unusual for them.
It was this article about these Luddite teens.
What?
Combining 2 of our greatest groups.
Yeah, we love teens. We love Luddites. I'm in.
Which is this group of, teenagers, like high schoolers and stuff, who basically they meet up. They're like a cutout social media sort of crew.
Wow.
And they're, they have these meetings with their friends, and they like put away their technology and just like hang out. Like out in the woods or whatever.
Whoa.
Okay. Not like out in the woods.
Yeah, just outside.
Like, outside. Okay. And it was just, it's great. They seem like total nerds, which is awesome. Not in a pejorative way. I mean, like
We like those.
they're reading books and stuff.
Fuck
and
yeah.
talking about books and hanging out, and it was really cool. Where are they from? They're in Brooklyn.
Oh.
You have to go a little ways to get out in the woods, but still maybe a park or something.
Yeah.
But they kind of, the founder of it talks about being just too enamored of their phone.
Yeah.
Essentially, and just like it's taking up all their time. Like during lockdown, which we experienced as fully brain-formed adults, it would be very hard to experience that like as a young person.
For sure.
And she's talking about basically being completely consumed by social media use.
Ugh, yeah.
And obsessed with that and basically burning out on it. And she's just like, yeah, I put my phone in a box.
Damn.
And just went without it. Basically, her parents had to be like, hey, can you get like a flip phone so we can keep, any sort of tabs on you?
Yeah.
But it was interesting, this little group that was not being anti-technology for its sake, I think, but for like its positive effects on maybe their well-being.
Yeah.
Because the article kind of talks about how they think they're making more connections with each other and everything, like how it's more genuine.
Yeah, so like I think that's something we have to remember about technology as it exists, is that it is under the framework of capitalism. So like they want us to be addicted, they want to sell us things, they want us to always be on it. They have designed it that way on purpose.
Yeah.
And every single service is trying to do that to you. And so like no wonder we're addicted to it. Like I know, like I close Instagram and immediately open it again, forgetting I was just there.
Yeah, no, I recently I didn't delete it, but I took TikTok off of my like homepage, which is essentially exiling it because I'm lazy. I'm not going to go find it.
You don't use the search function?
No, I navigate
search.
only on my home screen, and basically if I have to go dig something for me, because I'm a peasant, I swipe up to get to my whatever you call it. It's just a list
like
of
folders.
Yeah, it's like a list of folders of all the things you've got. And
Kyle doesn't even use folders. Makes me so mad. I know. He's like, just search for it. I'm like, I would, but it looks upsetting.
Wow.
I know. I'm married a Luddite, but in the bad way.
Yeah. But I'm that extra step is too much for me. I won't do it. So unless I'm really trying to solve a problem, but like idle just use.
Yes.
Just like I have a few seconds, I'm going to waste them.
Yeah.
And pretty much consciously making that decision of like, I want to waste some time right now.
Yeah. Oh, I do that shit all the time. Yeah.
So I recently exiled TikTok for that reason. This was a cool part of the article that I was like, whoa, I wish I had people around me like this when I was growing up. Well, which we did have a few, but in the article, one of the club members says, we get backlash. The argument I've heard is we're a bunch of rich kids and expecting everyone to drop their phones is privileged. Which I guess, I can see if you're just strictly if someone were making that argument, everybody get rid of your phones.
Yeah.
That's going to, okay, fine, and basically saying like how she had wrestled with that, saying, I was really discouraged when I heard the classist thing and almost ready to say goodbye to the club.
Aww.
I talked to my advisor though, and he told me most revolutions actually start with people from industrious backgrounds, like Che Guevara. We're not expecting everyone to have a flip phone. We just see a problem with mental health and screen use. And I was like, damn.
Imagine
if I'd gone to my counselor and they were like, well, don't worry, man. Like Lenin was a class traitor.
I've been taking a look at Che Guevara. It's really funny.
That sounds like me as a counselor. It's just like, hey, it's cool. Like plenty of great people in history have grappled with this, like Karl Marx.
Have you heard about this guy? I've got some literature. That's amazing.
So I was like, damn, I'm a little jealous.
Yeah, for real.
That was few and far between for us. Not non-existent, but...
very rare.
So, shout out to this Luddite Club.
Interesting.
The article does take pains, I think, to frame them as nerdy as can be. Always being like, oh, they're talking about Dostoevsky and this and that. And it's just like, yes, but like, they're high schoolers and...
They're probably just having fun, too.
Yeah, like, it's a cool time to like... figure out not necessarily what you're into, but just branch out. I mean, just check out things because people say you should check them out. And sometimes, honestly, say things because you think they'll sound cool. But like, it's still kind of an intro to a broader world. And I don't know. I felt like they were kind of like a little bit talking down to them. But like, I don't want them to feel discouraged of that. Of like, because that's cool. Like,
yeah, I think that's great. I think it is very important that we examine our relationship with these tools of capitalism.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Now that we've done 2 intros.
Yes.
Let's get into the meat of today's episode, which is going to be about the Noble Order of the Knights of Labor.
Is it really called the Noble Order of?
Let me see. I may have gotten it wrong.
Immediately out the gate.
Incorrect from the beginning. Knights of, give me Knights of Columbus first.
Boo, you Catholic.
The Noble and Holy Order of the Knights of Labor.
Shit, there are 2. Okay, double.
I got part
fancy.
of it. Partial credit. All right.
Okay.
There we go. Knights of Labor. Let's talk about it.
Cool. They got swords?
What questions do you initially have when Knights of Labor comes up? What are you thinking?
I mean, I guess, what are their contributions to the American labor movement? When were they around? Did they have any big wins? Are they as dorky as they sound?
All right. With the dorkiness, we can go ahead and head that one off. Yeah.
Are they just LARPers?
They were dorky. They were not just LARPers, but they were super dorky. Their motto was, and this is on their logo, "That is the most perfect government in which an injury to one is the concern of all."
Oh, okay. That's...
So like some Musketeers action.
It is some Musketeers cosplay. Okay.
But yeah, the Knights of Labor were around in the 19th century. That's the 1800s. I know that centuries are weird for people.
They're really stupid, yeah.
But it all stems back from like the first century being from 0 to 100.
Makes sense.
Throws everything off.
Okay, this is embarrassing. I have to do that when I like calculate when my anniversary is. I'd be like, all right, to this year, to this. Like, I count it out. So eventually it's going to get to the point where I can't do that. But
it's okay. Yeah, that's what I do with teaching years too. I'm always like, okay, 17, 18, 18, 19, 19. It's because...
Oh, yeah, especially because, that starts...
Yeah. All right, so the Knights of Labor were one of the earliest labor unions in the U.S.
Okay.
But they're not the first.
Who was the first?
The first, that honor goes to the National Labor Union.
That's a, simple, good name.
That was in 1866. They were...
Damn, so like Civil War times.
Yeah.
I guess end of, maybe.
After, post-Civil War, yeah. They fought for and won an 8-hour day for government workers.
Nice.
In 1868, that was under President Grant. But even though he told government agencies, hey, we're passing this law, don't change things like just lower wages and lower hours or whatever. We're not trying to do that. All the agencies were like, okay. But then they did that.
Okay.
They just worked around it.
Cool.
The National Labor Union also got 8-hour days in various states, but kind of the same deal of there were lots of loopholes that people got around it.
Gotcha.
There was a precursor to this, but in 1869 is when the Knights of Labor themselves were founded by a guy named Uriah Smith Stevens. Uriah. He was a one-time aspiring minister turned tailor.
Ooh.
He was also a big-time nerd, an abolitionist, and a utopian socialist.
All right, a lot of hobbies.
Yeah.
He likes God, he has good drip, and is a leftist.
Yeah, no, he was very well-read, basically. He kind of taught himself this. He was going to go into the ministry. This was his family's plan for him, but economic disaster happened.
Again, always happening.
Yeah, so he was like, well, I gotta fucking work. I'm gonna apprentice to a tailor and do that so we can live, But he was he just had this curious mind. So he ends up, after kind of becoming a tailor and kind of seeing the union movement in other countries, because he also was kind of well traveled too. When he comes back to the United States, starts the Knights of Labor as like a very small and secretive group of garment workers, basically.
Okay. Why were they? I mean, were they secretive because they'd get in trouble?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was not just like, oh, we're weird and
Come to my dungeon.
a cult or something, right? Yeah. No. Workers faced the threat of violence for organizing back
Gotcha.
then. So,
I mean,
luckily now we live in a world where workers no longer face any repercussions for organizing.
it's fine. Okay, but like contextually though, I guess this probably comes from like Gilded Age laws, I'd imagine.
Yeah, this is almost the proto Gilded Age, though.
Okay.
So right after the Civil War, you're talking Reconstruction.
Gotcha.
Which is almost it's kind of the high point of being able to do any of the what was termed at the time free labor, which sounds bad. That sounds like they're not paid.
Sounds like slavery.
It's the opposite of that.
Oh, okay.
Free labor is like the emancipation of labor.
Okay.
This was like at the heart of the Republican ideology, the Republican Party.
Okay.
When it started, free soil, free labor, free men.
Oh, wow.
So they,
That's
abolitionists.
like some, like, terra, like, what is it? The tierra and...
Tierra y libertad, right?
Yeah, that's very Mexican.
And they said essentially this was the extension of the American Revolution to the economic sphere.
Okay.
That this was, we're going to, like, take the next step and say, like, there are people in bondage, they need to be freed. This was something from, that should have been done a long time ago.
Wow.
But there are people who are in wage slavery that need to be, it's not really Marxist.
But it's like abolitionist extended.
Yeah, and it has that tinge to it.
It does, for sure. Like, it makes sense. It's a natural conclusion.
It's just that it's not so much mass politics of, like, let's overthrow and dictatorship. It's more so like it's a blending of that sort of Marxist tinge of, like, let's free the workers, but a blending of that with, like, the old Jeffersonian sort of yeoman farmer type of thing of, like, we're all individuals sort of thing. Like, that was the overwhelming thrust of the Republican Party, basically before it gets subsumed into business interests in the Gilded Age.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
So that's
short time period.
yeah. In post-Civil War, Reconstruction era, that's like the possibility.
Yeah, and shit breaks bad.
Yeah, and essentially, that it's an entire episode of why that happens the way it happens, if we wanted to do that.
Okay.
But the Knights of Labor start out as this very small and secretive group, but it is open to every worker, every artisan of any race.
Cool.
Which is
that's a big deal.
Yeah. Stevens would call it a brotherhood of toil, which ends up being a song. I don't know its provenance, but I've heard a version of it by Utah Stevens.
That's a cool name.
The Brotherhood of Toil that is to be. It's a banger. We'll put it on in one of our episodes. But it's a fraternal organization. Like, it's a club.
Yeah.
Complete with secret rituals and handshakes.
Okay, yeah, I did see the handshake section.
They're referencing here, in 1869, same year he founds it, the Knights of Labor adopted, Stevens wrote a ritual book.
Oh my God.
Called Adelphon Kryptos.
Oh my God, what a dork. What does that mean? Is that Latin or something?
I don't know if it's really actually Latin, but it means, I don't know what language it means it in. I just saw afterward in parentheses, it said secret brotherhood.
Okay.
Which is cool.
It sounds kind of Greek.
It sounds like, because os.
Yeah.
And then the Adelphon. That's totally Greek. Sounds totally like assassins.
Greek. We're experts.
Greek listeners are just like, that means...
idiots.
Yeah, that means fuck your mother. But it sounds like Assassin's Creed shit to me or something.
Does, yeah.
But anyway, he writes this ritual book and it has these secret symbols in it. I had you look at some of these before the episode. Oh my
God.
What do you think? Like, what was your favorite of these secret symbols?
I mean, I like this one. Listeners, I am putting 2 fingers inside my cuff and a thumb on the outside, as if I were to roll up my cuff to signify that I roll up my sleeves to work. And the response the Grey has just done is wiping his brow.
To signify that I work and earn the sweat of my brow.
It's so dorky, guys. I wish I were exaggerating. It's incredibly dorky.
It's so good. That was also my favorite, though. The sign of recognition is what this is called. So picture this, all right? You're at some work function.
See, this would be handy.
Yeah. You're at some place where you feel a little bit out of sorts and you're trying to like suss out who's cool here. Yeah. And that's like kind of what that's built for. They also had like caution, like danger words or something like, oh, you're looking for help for somebody and you're like, oh, I need assistance. Or you say something in a
certain cadence.
Yeah, there was like the cry of distress is a good example of this of, I am a stranger, but you have to give emphasis to the word stranger.
Okay.
In your sentence. And they actually spell out, like, it's fine so as to not attract attention from those who are not members, to, like, put stuff before and after it.
I saw that for some of them, like, I have come for work or something, or, like, there was another one that was like that, like, oh, don't worry, like, yeah, try to weave it into a sentence so it's not so obvious.
Yeah, like, you can tell the society they're doing this in is like very on the watch for people doing shit like this, and so they're like taking precautions, and it makes sense.
It does. Now, like, I laugh at how dorky it is, but it's also like they had to, like, no one's just that dorky naturally. They had to have a reason for it.
Yeah, like nowadays what we talk about is operational security or like just like technological know-how of like, hey, don't put your shit out there, like, be careful,
don't use a work computer or whatever.
Or if someone's trying to sell you explosives, they're a federal agent.
They're definitely a federal agent.
These sorts of things. That's kind of what they're dealing with. Is like you've got to be cautious, you've got to have the right way to pull at your cufflinks.
That's so funny.
So yeah, they're very secretive. They had these secret rituals. They had like, this book has like how to open a meeting and all this in it.
I wonder if it's because also he was like training to be a minister. It gives me like Catholic ritual vibes. I don't know if he was Catholic, but I guess probably not.
I think that's not Catholicism per se, but like the mystery of that sort of ritual, I think, played a role. One of the things he writes in his book is everlasting truth, sealed by the grand architect of the universe.
Okay, yeah.
He said, this is that everything of value or merit is the result of creative industry.
Ooh.
But it's this, that makes sense to us in that labor sense.
Yeah.
But he's, I think, speaking in a way that makes sense to him of this religious sort of sound, but probably more broadly makes sense to the people he's talking to.
Definitely.
It's a very Christian society.
Sense. Yeah, he adapted it for the society. Remind me on the date. I should know this fucking by now. Date for fucking Communist Manifesto.
1848?
Yeah. So, okay. So he could have read it.
I mean, he was... I think, I don't know about the manifesto in particular, but I know...
Was he into?
He was a socialist. He was a utopian socialist.
No, so Marx wouldn't have liked him.
Right, Marx would have made fun of him. I mean, let's be honest, right? Marx would have come out and been like, this dopey...
this fucking nerd.
Yeah, waving about the wand of a wizard. He would have had some very eloquent way to take this guy down.
I'm sure. He loves a shitpost.
So if you're out there shitposting...
It's okay. Marx was a shitposter.
Yeah, it's fine. You do want to get involved. Marx also was an organizer and also, like, went to the fucking actual ass, like, internationals.
If you've done a crime, Stalin robbed banks.
Yeah. We're ecumenical here. So, also, one of the things that comes out of this symbolism and stuff is the symbol of the Knights of Labor overall, which is equilateral triangle within a circle with other stuff too, right? It's got like, what has it got? Let's see. Because in the front of this, Adelphon Krupos. Yeah, so you've got the triangle on like the...
Oh, yeah.
on what's otherwise the Organization of American States.
Oh,
the
okay. Like North and
North
South
and South
America.
America thing, and then it's on a pentagon, on a circle,
On a hexagon.
on a circle, on a star.
There's a lot of shapes, guys.
And yeah, it's
It's an upside down star, I feel like we should point out.
ooh, so that's a pentagram?
I mean, it's not a traditional pentagram, but it gives those vibes. Because I think
Oh.
a pentagram has the circle around it.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm not sure on that.
I just thought it was upside down.
Don't test me.
But the article I was reading, which is Wikipedia. Sometimes I say that to disguise that it was just Wikipedia, but
It's a type of article.
it said embellishing it with symbolism from the various lodges to which he belonged. So my man just
yeah.
stacked them all up.
I love it.
So some early graphic design work there.
It's an interesting logo. It's pretty badass. I don't like the countries in the middle. That takes away from it to me.
It's a little like small line work versus big stuff.
And it gets like there's some weird tangents happening, like where the lines cross. It's just messy. So they didn't need that.
Could have been cleaned up.
Could have edited that. But everything else I like it. I like the shapes on shapes on shapes.
All right, so that gets a seal of
It's
approval.
in a very like kind of it's not esoteric. What's the word?
Abstract.
No, like
Geometric.
you know the fancy word for spooky?
Eerie.
No, it's like occultist maybe.
Okay.
It's got kind of occult vibes.
All right, occult vibes. Are you
Yes.
still looking for the word, or
I think that's close enough.
okay? I was like, I can
You can keep going.
thesaurus. So, all right. So the knights in this early incarnation see themselves as a voluntary association of producers.
Okay.
They really focused not so much on like a mass organization as much as personal and professional development of their members.
Almost like a guild.
Yeah, kind of. Working cooperatively, they would meet together and, essentially have like a service. They would do this little intro ritual and then listen to lectures about the nobility of labor, the evils of wage slavery, how monopolies were ruining the country.
You're going to communist church.
Yeah. Like, excessive wealth is corrupting the soul of man. Like it
Wow.
was basically just a church.
But for socialism.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Dudes only, I assume?
No.
Oh, okay. You said fraternal, so I just assumed.
Oh, no, they were open to women as well.
Cool.
Yeah, they were thinking of things in the binary, but regardless of race, gender, or trade, everybody was open to it.
Very cool.
Yeah. This is not to say that every chapter had like lots of women in there, or even any.
Yeah.
But that was the charter for the whole thing.
That's cool. Where did this start?
Oh, good question. Stevens was from Jersey.
Joycey.
I'm not sure where the first chapter was founded, but it does end up like a nationwide thing.
Okay.
Like it's all around. Initially, one of the things that's interesting is that the Knights of Labor, and this kind of carries forward, is that they initially are just generally opposed to strikes.
Whoa. That seems like a misstep.
Or yeah, even smaller work labor actions, any slowdowns
Like a
or whatever.
walkout or anything.
Yeah, they're like, this is not good. These things lead to violence. These things lead to more crackdown on workers. It's dangerous. Don't
Your
do
knights wear your swords.
But they want to be like cool, romantic knights.
The chivalrous kind.
They want to win the ladies or the men, but they don't want to.
They don't want to actually do the fighting.
Yeah, in these early days. Now they'll wrestle with that as we go forward.
Okay, so I have a question already.
Yeah.
Why knights? Is it the religious context? Because like we were joking about Knights of Columbus earlier. Mm-hmm. Like, is it just that?
No, it's not just like a religious sense, but that's partially it. Partially, it's this, it's your call to serve the Lord, but to serve,
Some sort
your
of
fellow
higher
people. Yeah, this higher calling. This, what did he call it? The everlasting truth of the grand architect.
Jesus Christ!
Right, you're in service.
Yeah.
But it's also the dignity that goes with that.
Okay.
So one of the big things of the rituals that comes through in that Adelphon Kryptos is that labor should be more honored than the aristocracy of wealth.
Totally. Okay, I like that because my confusion was like I've done a lot of reading on medieval shit lately, and watching and consuming. So like the traditional class structure in medieval times was like the three estates model. Mm-hmm. Those who rule, which is basically those who fight, which are knights. Nobility. So those who fight, those who pray, and those who work. And so to me, it felt very weird to pick the knights. But it's kind of like reclaiming that term of like, hey, we are also noble and worthy of honor.
Yeah, how do you swing your sword? How do you get like the vitality to do so? It's from the earth that was farmed by the people, and so we're really the ones. Yeah.
Okay.
That's I think what it's trying to tie into, which is, to be more particular about it, maybe a little bit more collaborationist of sort of, saying, these different groups work together or something, and we're as cool as they are, but.
Yeah, well, I think maybe it is like, we're also cool, and less like, hey, maybe you should like tone it the fuck down so the rest of us can have something.
Yeah, maybe. But it's also, I think, a heavy dose of that is just like sounding cool.
It sounds badass. Don't get me wrong. I want to be one.
They're just like, you're fucking knights now.
That's cool shit.
All right. We got the secretive group of LARPers going around saying, hey, actually, being a worker, fucking dope. Like, you're a knight. You would think that, they're kind of secretive. They're not doing strikes. Going to be slow going for them.
I'd assume.
But in 1873, the National Labor Union basically starts collapsing.
Okay, what happened?
They decide that they're going to channel all of their energy into electoralism.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, they're gonna vote for the right candidates. They're gonna try to become a political party. They're gonna elect their candidates and get things done. Nobody votes for them, and they just fall apart. Everyone's like, "Are you serious?" Like, no.
Listeners, I'm doing the tiny little head shake, which, if you were married to me, you would know means I'm very annoyed.
What is this shit?
It is
what this translates to.
It's my calling card. It's my tell, like, oh, you're mad at me.
Yeah, so when they fall apart, workers are left with sort of a vacuum.
Yeah.
And they start flocking to the Knights of Labor.
So, you said artisans earlier. Do they accept more than that, or is it mostly... Because artisans to me implies like a slightly higher class, I guess, than like more laborers.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing about the Knights of Labor is that they were not restrictive as to the types of worker you could be within reason. They did have a few exceptions.
Like, could you be like a farmer?
So yeah, you could be a farmer. So you could not be these groups.
Oh, okay. Who? Prostitute?
You could not be a banker.
Well, that's fine.
You could not be a lawyer.
Oh, okay.
I'm willing to.
I think most lawyers then were rich.
Yeah. You could not be a land speculator.
Fuck yeah. Fuck those guys.
You could not be a liquor dealer.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
Maybe because they're Jesus-y or something. Prohibition was gaining some traction.
Prohibition was definitely gaining some traction. So this is like the...
This is when everyone was fucked up all the time, right?
Yes. So Americans were drinking probably about at least 2 to 5 times as much as we currently drink.
There's a section in Omnivore's Dilemma about that. Just like, yeah, everyone was just drunk all the time.
Yes. No, that's...
so fucking funny. Because there's so much corn. We're like, well, let's just drink it all.
Yeah, no, there was a thing called the Whiskey Rebellion.
Yeah.
In early American history, it was just like they were trying to raise money for the government. They decided to tax whiskey. And the fucking farmers in Western Pennsylvania were like, are you kidding me?
Fuck no.
Whiskey is our money.
Yeah, that's all we do
and
here.
So, yeah, they were like rose up in rebellion. George Washington had to go and threaten to shoot them all, and they ran away. But it was this, like teens who were still like dealing with having to learn received American history in your school. Yeah. One thing that will make it more interesting is imagine
everyone's drunk. Just from like the beginning of the colonies to like Prohibition pretty much everyone was drunk.
Yeah, and honestly, it's probably going to improve the accuracy of like, or your understanding of. Oh, I guess I see why they did that.
That seems pretty stupid. That's why they did that.
Yeah, they're not necessarily always plastered, but they are tipsy at least, probably.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, that's one of the things of prohibition is that basically when prohibition comes around, looking back, it's sort of stupid.
Prohibition is?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
looking back,
but
we're like
at the time, it kind of made sense. Like.
Right.
There are like people going blind and shit. Like
it's the health problems for the people involved. It's the family problems of them just wrecking shop in their own family. They're abusing them for sure. Like that's a terrible situation. You can understand why prohibition was a thing.
Yeah. Like I feel like it's something where like that was crazy, but it's like it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that that's partially because of the like legalized cartel we have of alcohol and everything in our society. It's a legal drug.
It is
essentially
totally.
And they have a vested interest in making it seem like prohibitionists were stupid, but it does make sense in their context.
Cheers.
Yeah, we're drinking while recording this.
That was an unsatisfying clink, by the way.
Sorry. But
anyway,
cheers to the prohibitionists.
I love my drugs.
They had a reason for doing what they're doing. So
no liquor dealers.
Don't be a liquor dealer.
Bummer.
If you're going to be in the nights. Also, gamblers.
Oh, well, gamblers. I guess if you're... Okay, you mean like I'm a professional gambler or I run a gambling house?
It doesn't say. Well, the article that I read, which was Wikipedia, did not say. I'm thinking it very well could be just like, do you gamble?
Oh, wow.
That was
it's a morality thing.
Yeah, that was a strong morality thing.
I was thinking about that for commune times. You know, there's people who like gambling.
I don't know. I mean, when the commune happens, why not gamble?
There's no money. Is it fun anymore?
What do you gamble with?
I don't know.
You're gonna have to do something stupid, basically, like so.
Truth or dare?
Yeah, it's like you're gonna do this, or you're gonna have to streak through the commune or something, or you're gonna have to jump in the ice river, or just weird shit.
I was thinking like, oh, you get old Mrs. So and So made the best pie. We're gonna gamble for it.
Ooh, that's good too. Yeah, reward. I think they mean just people partaking in gambling at all. That was a.
So far, I'm still in.
Yeah. it's not that bad, but those are the banned groups. You couldn't be them, basically.
Gotcha. That's not bad.
Yeah, no, I mean, basically, besides that, they were open to everyone, and they start growing. By 1879, the Knights had 23 district assemblies and 1,300 local assemblies with around 10,000 members.
Wow.
And it's in 1879 that Uriah Stevens resigned.
What happened? He's too old?
He wasn't too old. He disagreed with the direction that the Knights were going to go. A little bit of drama.
A little drama. It's not a organization. It's not a worker organization unless you have a split.
Yeah, so he was kind of averse to some of the changes people wanted to do. Newer members wanted to go public.
Yeah.
They wanted to reduce some of the ritual elements.
I kind of agree with that.
And they generally wanted to make the organization more appealing to regular workers, especially, we mentioned them before, Catholics.
Ooh.
Because Catholics might be cool with the rituals, but not the wrong rituals.
Yeah, they're like this. They probably would see it as like a perversion of it or something. Like, this is offensive.
Like they're part of them. I'm going to channel my inner self here. Part of them were comfortable with the rituals.
Oh, yeah, me too.
It's like, oh, okay, I got it.
I love it.
But part of them was like, this is sinful. These are the wrong rituals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's blasphemous or something.
Yeah, so
it sounds sick to me, but I'm a dork.
Yeah, so that was the whole thing. Was like, hey, lots of our working class population at this time is Catholic, so we really don't want to piss them off. We really would like to attract them and not have their priest telling them this is the spawn of Satan. Yeah. This is the Antichrist sort of. Because they would. They would come out there and be like, and find some clever way to make the homily about how these guys are, taking you down the path to hell or whatever.
And, I mean, if you are going to be planning strike actions, maybe don't spend quite so long on, like, doing your opening prayer or whatever. That can wait, maybe. Like, we got other shit to do.
Yeah, so fewer Gregorian chants and more strike actions.
Okay, well, I'm in.
Newer members. And Stevens was like, so they said,
be all about the music, guys.
yeah, see ya. So he gets replaced by a union organizer and the sitting mayor of Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Scranton, where Joe Brandon's from.
From fighting Joe Brandon's hometown, Scranton, Pennsylvania. 30-year-old Terrence V. Powderly.
Terrence V. Powderly. Interesting name. Powderly.
Can I get his
Give me a pick.
Can I get his middle name?
Does he have a pick?
Vincent.
Oh, quite the facial hair. He's got a mustache that's really long, and then also like what do you call the stripe in the middle? Is there a name for it?
Not the stripe. I would just call the whole thing
It's
the
like
arrangement
a goatee, but it's
but
like kind of got some patches in the middle.
it's only the stripe, really. It's kind of cool.
It's cool. It's a good look. I'd like to see that come back.
I'll start shaving everything, but the center stripe. Come on, Terrence.
Terrence.
So yeah, he's an interesting fellow. Uh-oh. So he's, first of all, the literal actual mayor of Scranton, Pennsylvania.
That's
at the
insane.
Time. That they say, yeah, be the Knights of Labor guy.
That's cool.
He was a reformist. He served for 3 2-year terms as mayor of Scranton, Pennsylvania, from 1878 to 1884, with the backing of / as a member of, because it's a very loose thing, the Greenback Labor Party.
Who are I know what greenbacks are. Aren't they the ones that were like, the money's fucked up, let's do new money?
Yeah, that's a good summary. The money's fucked up.
I think I should teach. I should.
Yeah,
I should be American history teacher.
It's good. No, so Greenback is like the money's fucked up. It's all backed by gold, and only the rich assholes can get it. Mm-hmm. We need to do silver, easy money, backed by silver. It's easier to get, and if you're in debt and the value of money's going down, this helps you because you can pay back your debts easier.
Ah, okay.
Meanwhile, the credit card companies, in our modern terms, but the creditors back then,
they did not like that.
Yeah, they were pulling out their hair, right?
That's what, because like I've always heard it said as like it was stupid because inflation or something.
Yeah. That's how we receive it. Mm-hmm. It's just like these yokels didn't understand.
These poor
money.
People didn't understand how money works. It's like they understood how it works and it fucked them over and they didn't like that.
So they tried to do it the opposite and then they were crushed.
Yeah.
That's part of it. The Greenback labor sort of aspect was just uniting with the working class in cities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they supported the 8-hour day, which was, nowadays we're like, I don't like the 8-hour day.
No,
but
I don't.
Like an improvement.
It's a big deal then.
As an improvement. They were trying to get you to where you are now. Unions and easy money to help farmers.
Great.
So this is the party he was in.
That's a good party. I wish we had something similar.
Yeah. What would it be called now?
The Greenback Labor Party would be I thought of like a Fox News term of like the kickback lazy party.
Yeah, I was thinking about that in a good way, sort of like the part-time.
Yeah, fuck yeah. The 42069 party.
Hell yeah.
4 hours a day, 20 hours a week. What is it,
69 days a year,
That's
baby.
What I thought.
Here we go. 100%. If you want to boil down communism to your friends, that's what we are. And that's what we're fighting for. And
there's a great poster that someone made about it. Let me look them up because it's fantastic.
Yeah. The thing about it is they're going to tell you you're oversimplifying it. No one can survive on that. But you know what? What you're fighting for, that's the end goal. When the way you work out all those details, how are you going to get to 4 hours? How are you going to get to 20 days a week? That's communism, man. That's how you're going to do it.
Okay, it's by Vrenily on Instagram, VRENILEE. And they have a great 42069 poster, and it says, "It's not a joke." It's really good. They also did an homage to the Soviet poster, the like "God's not here" thing.
Yeah. The Niet thing. Yeah.
Okay, here's the 420.
The no God. Yeah, I like that one.
Here's the 42069 one.
4 days a week, 20 hours, $69 an hour.
$69 an hour.
Yes, we're fucking serious. I love it.
Isn't
Yes,
that
we're
good?
fucking serious. Take your pick of societal ills. That would be cut in half by that policy.
What?
For $20, $60.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just put all the societal ills on a dartboard, throw a dart. It would be cut in half.
Mental health, physical health,
If you were guaranteed, if that's like the
domestic
minimum.
abuse.
Yeah, if this is the you are going to drop out of high school and go into the workforce directly. And that's what you're guaranteed.
$69 an hour.
So you're not 4 days. Yeah, all that.
You're good. Here's the other one. It says, "We checked. No heaven for bootlickers." And it's the image based off of the shrugging cosmonaut.
In the original one, he's like searching. He's
That's
like,
right,
no,
that's right.
there is no God.
Which is a
He's
crazy
looking.
poster.
I love that one.
It's so good.
As a religious person, I love that one. But
He's
like shrugging.
He's just like, woo. Anyway, check out Vrenny. Their website is stillvrenny.com and buy these fucking great posters. They're really cool.
Yeah. Powderly.
Powderly. Back to this goatee man.
Powderly, the greenback labor guy.
Yes, the stripy goatee.
Mayor of Scranton.
That's his resume.
Greenback labor guy, mayor of Scranton.
Stripy goatee. Special skills.
So he's elected as the leader of the Knights of Labor. And he did the reforms that people were talking about.
Okay.
So he cuts back on the rituals, makes it less religious sounding.
Cool.
And goes public. 1882, they say, we're the fucking Knights of Labor. Here we are.
I wish they said it like that.
And they expand. They grow a lot.
Okay.
Under this.
They're already growing.
They expand to from 10,000 to 700,000 members
Wow.
by 1886. Now, we already said, okay, what's their platform? They are open to all workers, regardless of race or gender or trade.
Fuck yeah.
And they only banned those 5 groups that we talked about. So they're doing pretty good there in terms of inclusivity. Mm-hmm. They called for an 8-hour workday, an improvement from where they were, a graduated income tax,
Okay.
and an end to child labor
Yeah, that's important.
and convict labor,
Yeah.
which
geez.
is progressive even in the year 2022.
For real. Still have that, still not okay.
Unfortunately, if you dig this up in your archive and listen to it 5 years hence, it is probably still going to be a progressive opinion.
How's it going, future us?
Yeah,
How's
this
the
is a
wasteland?
time capsule. I'm sad to say, and I hope I'm wrong,
I hope so too.
but you guys probably still have prison labor. But I hope not. I hope you're laughing when you're listening to this.
Those chumps.
The party also grew a lot
Okay.
in these years and grew out of sort of that personal self-help, sort of secret society origin story stuff, and into more of a proper labor union.
Fuck yeah.
Local assemblies developed more into like union locals.
Okay.
And they had a lot of autonomy. They were very decentralized. They could kind of make their own decisions. And this is where this will bite them later. It's kind of disorganized in that
Okay.
way. It's almost like, because it is exactly like, they don't have the coordinative capacity to actually link
Okay.
these guys up. So they say, do whatever you want, and that's fine. It works okay.
I mean, it's like olden times. They don't got like phones.
Yeah.
So.
They don't have good communication, anything. So
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah.
Good luck. Send me a letter if you need me, and I'll be there later.
Yeah. One of the things is that even though they've grown so much or whatever, Powderly was also an opponent of strikes.
What the fuck?
So Powderly saw strikes as a relic of barbarism. He said this
Okay.
is brutality. It's only going to, same argument we saw before, it's only going to breed violence and whatnot.
Ugh.
The difference here is that local assemblies were kind of a, disorganized situation they were in, allowed to do what they wanted in that front.
So they could strike anyway?
Yeah, if the local wanted to strike, that was fine. It's not to say that the national organization was going to back them up.
Yeah.
Powderly was still worried about violence. He was also, by this point, worried about the Knights looking like socialists. He didn't want to be seen as this enemy force. He was also worried about losing the support of, and basically being condemned by and losing Catholic membership, because of the Catholic Church was very conservative and saying, oh, if you're actually going out there and doing strikes and all this, you're, doing idolatry because you're putting something above God.
What the fuck?
The American Catholic Church at this point was very conservative in regards to the labor movement and stuff, for sure. It wasn't monolithic. There were some bishops who were like, this is cool.
This is cool, guys.
These Knights of Labor, like, they're fighting for the dignity of work and the working man.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a sermon I have heard, not to that extent, but like, I feel like that is a theme you can find in the Bible and in religious thought is dignity of work, of like, oh, you should respect the poor people.
It's a definitely, that's one thing they call, religiously, they call it Catholic social teaching, which is that there should be a priority given to the poor.
Yeah.
This should be like it's not preference, the preference to the poor, or something like that, which is like, not just a charity sort of thing, but like a structuring of society to look after the poor's well-being first.
Yeah, I mean,
like the least among you.
Yes, that's the thing I was going to say. I just didn't know enough Jesus to say it.
What if you? So you encounter Jesus later, and he's just like, "You're a stranger to me." It's like, what? It's like, yeah, whatever you did to the least among me, you were doing to me.
Yeah, and. Yeah, I mean, it does speak a lot. Like, if you take a look at how we treat the least among our society, that says a lot about how we operate. Like, if you take a look at how we treat disabled people, or if you take a look at how we treat prisoners, like, what does that say about us,
Exactly. I'm going to look up a lyric real quick because it just popped in my head.
Okay. I'm going to try to look up an obscure saint that this old guy told me about. You know what I have to Google on this? Nothing. Latin American saint who helped the poor. Not a lot to go on.
Latin America. I was going to say there are early church fathers who have a lot to say about the poor. I told some kid this the other day in school. Sometimes I just like to pepper these in. I'm like, well, there's some people who say if you have more coats, more cloaks in your closet or whatever than you can use, that you're essentially, you're stealing. You're stealing from people who don't have that.
Yeah, totally.
That was some sort of early church father or something that basically said that.
All right, quick side story, listeners. So I did a terrible Google, and I still got to what I wanted. This comes from, the original kernel came from, I was on the train with an old man in Europe, and he was telling, he was a priest, and so I was like, what's your favorite saint? Because I like saint stories. And I was like, this will be safe to talk about. And he couldn't remember what the name was, but he's like, yeah, he was this guy who worked in Latin America, and he like helped the poor and like all that, and it sounded really cool. And so I just Googled Latin American saint who helped the poor, and I found, and I don't know if this was the exact guy, but he seemed cool as fuck, Oscar Arnulfo Romero y Galdames. Excuse me, the accent was on the A. But yeah, he's was
cool
like,
as fuck.
Yeah, he was super radical and like was very against like injustice, and like he was trying to help the poor, and he got.
He was a liberation theologist guy.
Yeah. Let's see, who killed him? Hold on.
I can tell you who ordered the killing. That was Major Roberto de Albuson, a death squad leader, founder of the right-wing Nationalist Republican Alliance Arena political party in El Salvador.
Wow. Also, his funeral got like smoke bombed, and rifle shots were fired. Jesus, 31 casualties at his funeral.
Yeah. No, and this Arena, the National Republican Alliance, is a political party.
Wow.
In El Salvador. It controlled the National Assembly until 1985. It controlled the presidency from 1989 until 2009. It gained a plurality in the Legislative Assembly in 2012.
Damn, he died right after giving a speech saying, like, hey, don't do this government repression and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Okay, it's a future episode on this guy.
Yeah. Oscar Romero is a figure.
He's a badass. Okay, anyway, what the fuck were we talking about? Jesus, I guess?
No, we were saying the least among
among
you
you
sort of thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
which,
And then you were Googling something, too.
yeah, it reminded me of a lyric by Phil Oakes in his song Power and Glory, where he's talking about the United States, saying, "Yet she's only as rich as the poorest of her poor, only as free as the padlocked prison door, only as strong as our love for this land, only as tall as we stand." But that's those first two lines to me stand out as like, this is as much as, you want to stand tall and brag about your country and whatever. These are the standards you actually have to hold yourself to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, freedom to what?
Yeah. So then we come back to what we were actually fucking talking about.
Guys, it's an evening
Catholic
recording.
Church, right?
Yes.
Okay, losing favor didn't want to strike.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so we were saying Powderly worried about the strike. One thing he actually does kind of change eventually is this. He facilitates on, I want to say. So, like, he doesn't fully change, but he does kind of relent a little bit on the strike issue when it works. When he thinks it'll work, which he's not always right about. But the Knights do a actual full-on strike against Jay Gould.
Okay.
Who, Jay Gould is one of the, like, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musks of his day.
Okay. More like Jay Gould.
Yeah. He owned 12% of the rails
That's a lot of rails.
in the United States at the time.
Wow.
So they did a strike against him, his Wabash Railroad in 1885 that they won. But Powderly was still kind of like, strikes, I don't know.
baby.
It worked, but like, Now, I do want to add some...
More like the frights of labor.
Oh, got him. Now, here you get to get him some more, because there are some shortcomings
All right.
for the Knights of
Racist?
Labor.
Well, they already
Racist.
said they weren't racist, but
Well, they're not
in the
racist
charter.
as like their group, but
Yeah.
they do allow local assemblies to do segregation if they want to.
Okay.
Now, this is something that the early, the precursors to the Socialist Party of America allow their local chapters to do too. Is that they come out and they say as a whole, that's bad. We
Yeah.
don't believe in that. But then they kind of let their various chapters do these things.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. They also, just as a national organization overall, essentially abandon their whole thing of like, let's be open to all races and be inclusive and everything. And they instead cower into the corners of racism and xenophobia.
Okay.
Specifically in regards to Chinese immigrants.
Oh no, that's not good. Because if you're doing rail strikes, like that's going to involve some Chinese immigrants, I imagine.
Yeah. So they end up supporting the Chinese Exclusion Act.
Fuck, that's a bad one to support, dude.
It's a barbaric law. It's 1882. They straight up ban Chinese immigrants who are coming to work or whatever for 10 years. They just say, nope,
Jesus.
0%.
Wow. We'll take the ones we have and exploit the fuck out of them, though.
Yeah. The organization also banned Asians from assemblies. I was not able to tell if this was like at a national level, like everyone, or if it was something they let the locals do. But either way, it's bad.
That sucks. That super sucks.
The Knights of Labor branch in Tacoma, Washington, did a pogrom.
Tacoma, you're usually so cool. What the fuck?
They did a pogrom against Chinese workers there in 1885. Chinese workers were about a tenth of the population of Tacoma, Washington at the time. And they just fucking rioted against them.
Wow. I guess violently, or
Yes. Yeah.
did they kill them, or they just kicked them out of the group, or what do you mean by that? I guess.
Violent expulsion, basically.
Gotcha.
The Knights were also individually involved. Like, there was never any proof that the national organization had anything directly to do with it. But a lot of the main members of this were Knights of Labor guys, and they rang the bell at the clubhouse for the Knights of Labor and everything to do this. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those things where it's like, okay,
it wasn't sanctioned, but still.
But they were involved in the Rock Springs Massacre in 1885 in Wyoming.
Okay, what's that?
So white miners there rioted. For a long time, basically, they had been striking and being replaced by Chinese workers there. And so this sort of tension had been simmering. And in 1885, they end up doing this big riot. They kill, the records are unclear, but anywhere from 28 to 50 Chinese immigrant workers.
Oh, my God.
Burn their houses. It is not sanctioned necessarily by the National Organization, but at the time, contemporary accounts from Powderly are extremely racist. Powderly is out there saying, like, the Chinese are an inferior race, blah, blah, blah. Like,
Whoa.
he's, like, just doing racism.
Okay.
So, regardless of, he can say, I didn't tell them to do this, but, like...
Yeah, you didn't clean up shop.
Yeah. So that's a very, I think... strike one and strike two for...
Yeah, that's fucking shitty.
Yeah, so that's the very big downside to them.
Yeah?
Now let's get to their downfall.
Okay.
Their downfall comes from the Great Southwest Railroad Strike of 1886.
Okay.
It sounds kind of cool.
It does.
It's got the Great Southwest, too. It's like...
There's a chili cook-off involved.
So what happened here is that the Knights of Labor had won an agreement from our buddy, friend of the show, Jay Gould.
Mr. Gould.
His Union Pacific Railroad in 1885. They won an agreement by striking and everything that no worker would be fired without due notice and an investigation.
Okay.
But lo and behold, March 1st, 1886, the very next year, in the bustling metropolis of Marshall, Texas.
Marshall, Texas,
indeed.
Oh my gosh. That's our neck of the fucking woods.
A gentleman by the name of Charles A. Hall was fired for attending a Knights of Labor meeting.
That's not cool.
Martin Irons, the founder and the leader of the local district assembly number 101 of the Knights of Labor, agreed.
Mm-hmm. He said, that ain't cool.
That ain't cool, man.
Come on, man.
So he called a strike vote, and the strike was on.
Okay, hell yeah.
Within a week, more than 200,000 railroad workers went out on strike in Texas, Arkansas, Missouri, Kansas, and Illinois.
Fuck yeah, that's a lot of folks.
Unfortunately, this did not include the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers.
Whoa, different brotherhood. Okay.
Yeah, so the engineers did not go on strike.
Fuck.
They kept doing their thing, which I think weakened the overall effort.
Yeah.
You still got the engineers going. And Gould, of course, what's he going to do? He's going to hire scabs, including Pinkerton agents.
Ew, hate those guys.
Yeah, these guys, any deaths they met were well-deserved. Unless they were peaceful and with their families.
More like Stinkerton.
Oh. So what did the strikers do? So they took different means and methods, but they resorted to things such as sabotage.
Great.
Uncoupling cars, which is a very like...
Looney Tunes.
Yeah, it's like as it's going, you bloop.
Switch a track.
Yeah.
Did they paint like a fake wall on the canyon side?
Yes, that would be beautiful. Threatening engineers, either with notes or with showing up at their job and being like, hey, motherfucker.
That's pretty cool.
Setting fire to train yards.
That's cool.
Draining the boilers, like the...
Yeah. I don't know what boilers are, but they seem important.
Well, you need to boil water to steam to engine, right?
Sure, yeah. That's how it looks in the cartoons.
We drain it, and then you're just like shoveling coal and heating it up like a dumbass, but there ain't no water there.
It's like smoke powered instead of steam powered.
Then you suck. It's not going to work. And their favorite tactic, getting the workers on the line to let the engines go cold on purpose.
Ooh.
To slow down, because basically you have to spend time to slowly heat this thing up. Mm-hmm. And, make sure the metal's not fucking
bust
up or whatever. Yeah, but you have to It just slows the whole thing down. It's great.
My guess is going to be tying beautiful women to the tracks.
Oh! Yeah, that's the received history we got from silent films at the time.
They twirled their mustaches.
Yes. Now the Knights of Labor will reign supreme over this country. That's like a Red Scare film from 1920.
Definitely. Mickey takes down the unions. They would totally do that.
And then Pete is like, down there. I guess he's more of a goofy villain.
Now, Pete could be a bad guy for Mickey, too, right?
Yeah, I feel like he's more antagonistic toward Goofy.
Maybe because they're both dogs.
Yeah. Anyway.
No, yeah, the rat, Mortimer, is Mickey's enemy.
Okay.
Anyway. Very important.
So, Gould. He's like, damn, they're fucking up my shit. Obviously, he just says, well...
I better pay them more.
This is the will of the people. I've got to respond to it.
Clearly.
Instead, he calls his buddy the state.
Yep, okay.
Engels told us way back in the day that the state is just simply the tool. The sword in the hand of the bourgeoisie.
Who's he call? Governor? Goes straight to Prez?
Several governors.
Oh, yeah, because it's multi-state.
Yeah, so Missouri, they say, okay, all right, yeah, we're sending out our militia.
Cool.
So Texas, they say, yeah, we're going to do that, and we're going to
Rangers?
throw in the Texas Rangers.
Those motherfuckers. Those are like OG strikebreakers, man.
The Texas Rangers, yeah, I mean,
slave catchers to strikebreakers. Really great record.
They took a break from massacring the male population of a small village to... Have you ever heard about this?
No, what the fuck is that?
I was reading about the Texas Rangers for this episode just because I got on a sidetrack, of course.
You did.
And holy shit, these guys are...
They nasty.
I knew that they were fucked up, but wow. So in 1918, a little bit outside the time scope of what we're talking about, it's called the Porvenir Massacre.
Okay. The what veneer?
The Porvenir.
Porvenir.
So it's outside the village of Porvenir in Presidio County, Texas.
Okay. So
it's
quite south, I assume?
It's out near El Paso, like that
Gotcha.
chunk of the state. The little...
Panhandle?
Yeah.
Well, that's not the panhandle.
The panhandle's up top, so
Yeah.
it's a little...
To me, it looks like a fucked up panhandle.
I agree.
A chicken wing.
It was a Mexican-American settlement there. They were sent to stop banditry after the Bright Ranch raid. And they basically couldn't find any, who had done what or
Any
whatever.
evidence?
Yeah. Despite having no evidence that the Porvenir villages had been involved in recent thefts or the killing of ranchers, the Rangers separated 15 men and boys from the rest of the village and shot them on a nearby hill.
What the fuck?
Ladies and gentlemen, we got a baseball team named after these guys.
Yeah, right? Like, fuck those guys. Good lord.
Yeah.
All right, so we got king shit calling up other shitheads.
Yeah. And that's one incident. These guys had been known for wanton violence before that and after that.
Oh, yeah.
The saying was one riot, or, depending on who you ask, one strike, one ranger.
Mm-hmm. Totally. But then it was so hard to do the strikes, so they stopped working strikes because everyone hated them. Boo. Maybe if you do something that everyone hates, maybe that's a sign, like, you shouldn't do that.
What the fuck?
Why does everyone hate me?
It must be. It's that Principal Burns. Not Principal.
Oh, yeah, they're
Principal,
not. They're
whoever, yeah. That's not me. It's them. Yeah. Simpsons joke. Something. You know
Simpsons. The meme.
Yeah. You've seen it. So, Gould calls in his goons.
Yep.
The cops and soldiers, of course, rough people up, and of course, strikers retaliate. A deputy is shot dead in Fort Worth.
Cool. Sorry, Dave and Dan. That's a joke.
What? Actionable intelligence here. Actionable intelligence.
I mean, cool story. I'm entertained by this
Cool
story.
your jets. Yeah. Two more deputies in East St. Louis, Illinois, shot into a crowd of sympathy strikers.
Whoa.
So back in the day, this was not illegal. Now it is. If you like that your local Starbucks barista and your local Starbucks chain is going on strike,
Yeah.
it is illegal for you to organize your workplace and go on strike in sympathy with them.
Yeah.
In American, like, labor law.
So it is illegal to do
Yeah.
that now? That's
Yeah.
fucked up. How the
It
fuck are we
is.
supposed to have any sort of, like, cross-worker organization?
No, that's the whole thing, is they want to shut down a general strike. They don't want that to happen.
That's insane.
Yeah, sympathy strikes, secondary strikes, which is like, this company that, like, brings in...
Or something.
Yeah, or from, like, a war crimes sort of situation, or, like, this company that, like, brings in Amazon rainforest trees to our paper mill, or stuff like that. You can't secondary strike. You can't say, like, oh, we deal with that company, so we're going to go on strike because they're doing that thing. Those are also legal. There's
You can only strike for, like, pay.
Directly, yeah.
And it has to affect you personally. That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, makes me mad.
Back in the day, you could do what's called a sympathy strike, which is just...
Hey, I agree.
You guys are treating those guys badly. I'm going to go on strike, and...
God damn.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was the Wild West in more than one, not just a colonialist situation. It was also this.
Wow.
So, the deputies there, East St. Louis, just shot into a crowd of these strikers, killed 8, nearly shot the goddamn mayor.
Was he there with the strikers, like, for
How else does
support?
he get shot at? I think.
I have to assume. I mean, hey, we have the mayor of Scranton.
Shout out or shout down to that mayor.
Depending on whose side he was on.
Listeners call in, tell us.
Is your mayor cool?
And the people, the good people of East St. Louis, in response to this, had the righteous response of saying, "You motherfuckers,"
Right.
and they set the rail yard there on fire.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, as was deserving.
Yeah.
Basically, what happens here is that because the state was called out, the level of violence escalated, and that escalation of violence ends up turning public opinion against the strikers.
As always, eh?
And the Pinkertons being involved, constantly beating people's heads in, attacking strikers, scares many of them into returning to work.
Yeah.
You've got that scene going on. You've got Powderly being a wimp, basically, the whole time, saying, "Oh, go, Gould, come here, please. Like, let's negotiate. I don't want to do any, bigger strikes or anything." He's always
giving away his power.
He's like pulling off the table constantly, like saying, like, "We're not going to strike at you anywhere else. I can guarantee you that." And it's just like this complete wimp coming to you. And with the general disorganization of the strike, which is just like only organized with the local, with the local unions there, the national union's not doing any coordination whatsoever. What are you going to end up with?
Trash.
It just, completely hurts their chances. Gould basically at this point knows that he can just lay on the pain. He can just...
he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah.
If the guy in charge is like, "I'm so sorry."
Yeah.
You're fine.
He's like, okay, fine. And he just, like, crushes them. But he just uses force, waits it out.
Yeah.
What's going to happen, right? And the whole time he can keep running his trains with basically slowdowns because of those engineers that are still running.
Yeah.
So it's doomed, right?
Yeah.
It's not doomed, I don't think, in a material sense, in that, like, Powderly was wise to sit it out and say, like, "Oh, I'm not going to try to push this further." I think it's doomed because of his, like, unwillingness to, like, put his body in the way of that and put his people.
Yeah. I think that, and, like, it seems like they weren't connected enough as an organization, because it shouldn't have had to be up to just Powderly to do that. It should have been like you had enough connected chapter heads to be like, "Yeah, we'll fucking support you and do that too. Like, fuck this Powderly guy, we'll do what we want."
Yeah, or a national vote where, like, they just do that and say, "Here we are. Let's do it."
Yeah, why didn't they do that?
They couldn't. That's the whole thing, is that they were so
decentralized.
Yeah, disjointed, just, yeah.
Wow.
It's only a matter of time. Gould does end up winning. May 4th, just 2 months in to the strike. It's lost.
Damn, right after May Day.
Losing that strike, getting that dominated by Gould's railroad powerhouse, starts the precipitous decline of the Knights of Labor.
Makes sense.
Workers start to leave and join a new organization, the American Federation of Labor.
Oh, we've heard of that one.
The AFL.
Soon to be AFL-CIO.
Yep. They actually at first compete with each other. Mm-hmm. And the Knights look really bad in this.
We got cool robes.
No, I mean they look really bad at this because they basically try to underbid the bosses for like, oh, we'll work for cheaper.
What
like,
the fuck?
Bullshit.
I'm going to the other place. Yeah, what the fuck?
Sucks. So the AFL ends up way more organized, but they are also more conservative. So they only want to organize craft unions with skilled workers.
That sucks.
They also only want to focus on raising wages, improving working conditions, and lowering hours. They don't want to do anything else. They have nothing to do with like mass politics.
Yeah?
No. They will support people who support us. So they want to support labor-friendly politicians.
Okay.
In whichever party they may happen to be. They want to be essentially an interest group or a lobbying group in that sense.
Yeah, yeah.
But they don't want to, start like a socialist party or start like a workers' party or anything like that.
Yeah, okay.
So they're very dialed back.
Yeah, I mean, it almost sounds like the things you were allowed to strike about, those are the things they want to address.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're saying, let's stick to that because that's what the laws say.
Ugh.
Another big thing that happens the same day that the strike collapses on May 4th is the Haymarket Square riot.
That thing again.
That same year, 1886. 2 of the 8 defendants that were just, strung up on charges. I mean, like nothing. Several of these guys were literally by the evidence at their house.
Just not even there.
Yeah.
Jesus. Can you remind us the Haymarket strike? What happened again?
Haymarket strike, people go out. They're
because of the panic, right?
Well, they're demonstrating. They're having speeches and stuff about they're talking about going on strike and everything, and the unfair labor conditions.
This is in
Chicago.
That's what I thought.
When the police show up and everything, and then a bomb is thrown.
Yes, and we do not know where it came from and who made it or what.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And some of those guys were at home.
Never. Yeah, and then the cops all start shooting indiscriminately.
Oh my god. Just the worst.
Most of them, and this was covered up in the initial investigation thing, but most of the people who died in that were killed by the cops, and most of the cops that were killed by the
other
cops. It was friendly fire. It was just like a mass, just everyone Mexican shootout style. Just everyone turns, boom. So in the sense of it being a riot, it was a police riot.
Yeah. They were the ones that did the killing.
But when we learned about it, I think it was the Haymarket Affair. Is how the AP history vocabulary term for it was Haymarket Affair. Which sounds clean. No, just a thing.
It's a thing it's the situation.
But they have to go figure out who threw this bomb, and they put up these 8 anarchists.
Yeah, the anarchists always get thrown under the bus first, eh?
They really do, and especially in this case because like some of them just charged with like inciting or being involved, because like literally these guys were placed by the prosecution as being at their house.
Wow.
But 2 of the 8 defendants were Knights of Labor.
Oh dear, that's not good for your PR, huh?
The press went all out.
Yeah.
The Chicago Tribune was all but inciting people to take vigilante justice against these guys.
Yeah, fuck. They're like, we found their weird book. Look how creepy they are.
And people started linking the Knights with anarchism, which the press was linking them with terrorism.
Wow.
And so it was just chaos. And so locals started to ditch the Knights of Labor in favor of the new AFL.
Yeah.
Which was seen as more respectable, more playing by the rules, blah, blah, blah.
Which is funny because it's not that the Knights were like that radical.
No.
I mean, I think some of their members could have been, but their leadership wasn't, and they didn't have that like in their structure.
And so what did Powderly do? He throws everything down. He loses everything for the respectability that no one gives him.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I think we'll get to lessons in a bit, but still,
Don't try to play the game.
Yeah, because you're going to play by the rules and you're going to do everything they say, and they're still going to hang you for a traitor. They're still going to hang you for a rebel.
Mm-hmm. You might as well just call yourself a pervert.
Yeah. Pits and perverts.
Pits and perverts, guys.
By 1890, the Knights of Labor were left with, at maximum, 100,000 members.
Okay.
And they only decline from there. The Panic of 1893 sets in, makes it times even harder, basically.
Yeah.
Conditions even easier for businesses. People leave their unions. And by that point, 1893, they were effectively done.
Yeah.
The last 50-member local, just sort of drops out of time and doesn't drop its, it's the only Knights of Labor affiliation union. They just forget about it, basically. They don't drop it till 1949.
Damn.
So technically they're around till then, but not really.
Not really. They're just kind of hanging out.
Yeah.
Just some old dudes getting together for poker.
Yeah. And every once in a while it's like, hey, Frank, what's the Knights of Labor, man?
Let me tell you about it.
He gives him, the story of Sir Gawain or something, but it's like...
He just replaces some names. Yeah.
Sir Powderly. So, yeah, that's the Knights of Labor.
Wow.
We say that they get basically replaced by the AFL. Mm-hmm. And that sort of twilight picture is an interesting thing, I think, because the Knights were a prototype of industrial unionism.
Yeah.
Everybody in the business.
Yeah.
Right? And they're replaced by the AFL, which is strictly craft unionism of just these particular forms.
Yeah, that sucks.
But eventually industrial unionism does rise again. Far more organized. Eugene Debs.
Yeah, that's our guy.
He's patron saint of the podcast.
He needs his own up very soon.
Yeah. American Railway Union in 1893. That's Eugene Debs. The Western Federation of Miners in the same year. The Industrial Workers of the World, the IWW, the Wobblies, 1905.
Damn, my
He's not in
guy.
that, but it's...
it's part of the trend.
Yeah, and then the CIO, you mentioned the AFL-CIO, Congress of Industrial Organizations, that's 1935. Those are industrial unions too.
Ooh, excuse
so
me.
that does come back.
Yeah.
What I think is that these movements learn from the experience of the Knights and from what comes after them, the AFL.
Yeah, they're like, okay, well, we can't be too wimpy, but we also can't just play by the rules either. We have to, strike and all be together.
Yeah, it's a synthesis, right? There's power in the union of all the working people. Mm-hmm. Striking is important. You can't just give that up. Mm-hmm. Workers being a member of your union, regardless of their race, regardless of their gender.
Yeah.
And organization, because I think this is something they picked from the AFL is the AFL comes out and says, hey, we're going to do craft unionism, not just for the sake of it, because we can better organize our people.
Yeah.
It's sort of a necessary step almost.
Yeah.
And so they say, yeah, that's good. That's smart.
We'll take that, please.
Yeah, we're going to take that. But what else did they learn from the AFL? They learn that you run the risk of becoming essentially a lackey of management.
You become a lobbyist. You become a negotiator.
By sucking up and by always just saying, what can we get? You become a business union, as they call it. And they say, we're not going to do that. Definitely not going to do it. We're going to take that other part, but we're not going to. So it's like dialectic.
Yeah.
It's like the Knights have this imperfect start. The AFL kind of arises from that contradiction.
They go hard the other way, maybe.
Yeah. And then it swings back. It's like, okay, we're going to take the lessons from each. Mm-hmm. And that's where you see the rise of the Wobblies and this militant revolutionary industrial unionism.
Delicious.
That's where it comes from. And the Knights, definitely imperfect, but I think that's their role, is this this beacon.
Yeah, early seeds of it, for sure.
So that's what I think they give us their legacy-wise. Another legacy-wise that they give us is the song Hold the Fort, which we heard on our Almanac Singers
Oh, yeah, okay.
Hold the fort, for we are coming, union and be strong.
Okay.
That's an old Knights of Labor tune.
Okay, it makes sense. They do like their forts those nights.
And it was an old hymn, and it fits into this whole, like, we're the Christian whatever, you know, like, so that's one of their
Cute.
legacies. That was one of the more popular Union songs before, like, Solidarity Forever and everything, you know, before the modern quote-unquote times. So there they are.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I got 2 major strikes, and we've already talked about it. Racism, don't do that.
Don't do that. Racism, knock it off.
It's a poster. And yeah, you gotta be less of a weenie about strikes. Like, come on, guys. Don't be such a weenie. Racism and weenieism. Don't do those.
So you have the immortal science of Marxism-Leninism, and you have the shitty loserness of weenieism, racism.
Yeah, don't do that shit.
Not even once. It's like heroin.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Here's the thing. I think that I mentioned this last week. It's like, it's a cool fucking name, but now I want to rebrand it because I don't like the racism part, and I don't want someone to see it and be like, "Are you into that?"
Wait a second, yeah.
So maybe I do make it Frights of Labor, but make it spookier.
Ooh. You only bring it out Halloween.
Yeah, but we can make it like we're threatening. Like anti-weenie. Like, we'll fucking strike. Like, we bite back.
Yeah, no, like August, September, like, is the season when?
Yeah, that's when we have our big gala.
Yeah, and you all of a sudden have, like, you know, all the big companies making big deals with their workers.
They're like, please don't leave. I know it's about to be fright season.
And the ones that don't, they're all in the news, and it's like, oh, shit.
They forgot.
And then you bring you put the trick in Trick or Treat because you set their fucking factory on fire. Or you fucking string them upside down over a river or something.
Just some classic pranks.
Some classic Dave and Dan actionable item stuff.
Okay, I like it. And our logo can be like a fucking sick ass goopy
jack-o'-lantern
eyeball or something. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I want to just be more spooky in general. Like not
Headless Horseman thing?
Maybe
no, not Halloween?
Not so explicitly Halloween.
Okay.
Like not jack-o'-lantern. Like this is my initial thought, and this is just really shooting the shit here. Goopy eyeball getting stabbed with a sword. I don't know why, but it sounds cool.
All right. And then you put that like
on a pentagram.
You put that on a pentagram.
Obviously. Maybe
smeared
some more
in blood. On on the outskirts of the ruined factory that you burned to the ground. And that's what the industrial sees when he walks up. He's like, oh shit.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
I got some fright strike action.
Or not, you don't want to really burn your factories to the ground because honestly, we want to take those over. We want to use
the factories for our own uses.
So, his burnt down third mansion.
You just slide on a piece of paper underneath the manager's door and they're like, oh, God damn it.
Yeah. Shit.
They know what it means. They're like, they're going on strike. Okay. All right. Frights of Labor.
Yeah. Bring it back. If you guys... Hopefully you can download this with like Wi-Fi when you do take, when you're forced to expose yourself to Wi-Fi at school, you can download it and introduce it. Maybe play it on what we used to do is burn it on CDs.
Oh my God.
So you guys can probably find a way to do that on vinyl or something. I don't know, but like do it for your Luddite clubs.
Oh, yeah, the Luddites.
Whatever you're doing.
Print off make a transcript.
Just do a transcript. Do a reading, an old-fashioned reading.
A reenactment. That'd be so stupid.
Do that. Train your next generations.
Yes.
To liberate us all from the yoke of the oppressors.
Yes, please.
Because our generation, we might do it.
We're gonna have fucking time.
The odds are ever decreasing.
I make Wario noises when I sit down in a chair. I think I'm out of time.
We could. There are decades when nothing happens, and there is, minutes where decades happen. So, Lenin probably thought he was never going to see anything happen.
That's true.
I mean, like, come on, you've lived that long.
Yeah. How old was he?
Been to prison and been out of prison that long.
In his 30s?
No.
Oh, is he young?
He's older than that.
Oh, fuck. It's hard to tell. He seems ageless in a way. Like, I can't picture young Lennon. Was he hot?
Young Lennon was not that hot.
Oh, bummer.
But he's still
Which
like
one is he?
he's like a Reddit guy.
In the middle?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not hot.
No.
Looks like he's going to explain something to me, like a Reddit guy.
But he was born in 1870, so if you think of 1917.
Oh, yeah. That's a ways.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I'm 40...
47?
Yeah, when I'm 47, I'm going to think that
It's all done, and maybe it isn't.
it's in the hands of somebody else.
Damn. Okay.
So, it's going to be up to you young bloods to...
Not me.
to do the stuff and then say, hey, we did this for you.
Yeah. Hey, old people.
And then put me in charge. Don't put me in charge, honestly. Put someone else in charge, but still.
We'll advise. We'll just be like, well, you'll be the historical advisor.
Tell you, taste differ.
Yeah. All right. Next week, we'll cover the big one, the Sino-Soviet split. That little thing that always shows up.
Yeah, so we'll talk about its whole thing. Everything about it. I don't know. Its origins, its effects.
You know, the thing.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it'll be kind of free-flowing.
We'll figure it out.
But yeah.
Alrighty. See you then, listeners. I won't, but you know what I mean. Bye.
Yeah. Keep listening. Adios.
Hey there, comrades. Just jumping in to remind you of all of our social media. We are on Twitter at teachcommunism, Instagram at teachmecommunism. You can shoot us an email. That's teachmecommunism@gmail.com. Any of those places are good to send us an episode suggestion or a question, anything you think would be useful feedback for us, or just your admiration. If you want to admire us in a public manner, and you should, you can go to Apple Podcasts to give us a review. It is the best way to help people find the show. Love when people rate and review us. Please do both. We are also on YouTube, if that's how you prefer to listen to podcasts, or if you know someone that's the only way they'll listen to podcasts, send them to our page. And we have a Patreon. For $5 a month, you get access to our notes for each week's episode, including the backlog of notes, which is a very handy resource for up-and-coming commies. And at the end of the year, all of the funds from Patreon will be given to local mutual aid in the DFW area. So, ain't going to line our pockets. Finally, we have merch. Check us out at TeePublic. You can find shirts and I believe also stickers and magnets and all kinds of fun stuff with catchphrases from the show or episode art, stuff like that. The link to that store is in the show notes, so check that out. Okay, that's all the internet. Join us next time for another episode of Teach Me Communism, where the class struggle is always in session. Bye, y'all.